You got it? Okay, you're welcome. Oh, Lord. Microphone is on. My microphone, where is it? Cliff, I hope you ain't recording any of that stuff we said.
So they had a tent set up with that was catered and an open bar, and it was very, very nice.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our June 4th, 2024 York City Council meeting. At this time, do we have any public comment? Okay, I see none. Moving along, it is 6:01 p.m. and we will call our legislative meeting to order. Madam Clerk, may you please call the roll?
Bob? John Askew?
Here.
Dennis?
Here.
Buckingham?
Here.
Washington?
Here. May we please stand, all that can stand, for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. We'll take action on previous meeting minutes. I would like to make a motion to approve our meeting minutes of May 21st, 2024 legislative meeting minutes, as well as May 29th, 2024 committee meeting minutes.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? That moves forward. Moving along to our presentations, awards, and announcements. This evening, we have the Susquehanna Regional Airport Authority with us to give us a brief presentation. Mr. Edwards?
Yes, good evening. Is this on? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Again, my name is Tim Edwards. I'm the Executive Director with the Susquehanna Area Regional Airport Authority. And the City of York actually appoints 2 members to the Airport Authority. I'll go over this in a minute. It's a 15-member board, and 2 of those members come from the City of York. And I want to introduce, I know many of you know her, Carolyn Van Newkirk is one of our longtime members of the Airport Authority board. So, what's that?
Oh.
I said long time. All right, I have the clicker here, so let's see if this is going to work. Doesn't seem to be working. Can you?
It's on, correct?
Oh.
It's on the side.
There you go.
There you go. Oh, you just had it. It just switched to something. You have it on the side is what it's on.
All right, it's on green. It's buzzing. There you go.
There we go.
All right. Sorry for the small print. Again, the Susquehanna Area Regional Airport Authority is a multi-municipal authority that manages and oversees the operations of Harrisburg International Airport. In addition to Harrisburg International, it includes Capital City Executive Airport, and Franklin County Regional Airport, and Gettysburg Regional Airport. Again, we have, as I mentioned, we have a 15-member board. 2 of those members are from the City of York. We have 3 members from Dauphin County, 3 members from Cumberland County, 3 members from York County. We have 2 members from City of York, also 2 members from City of Harrisburg, and 1 member from Fairview Township, which is where Capital City is located, and 1 member from Lower Swatara Township, which is where Harrisburg International is located. Okay. Gotta move my page because I can't see that so clearly. Significant economic activity, just to talk a little bit about the Sarah's airport system. The airport actually pays for itself. It's a self-sustaining entity that does not receive local, state, or federal subsidies for operations. Now, we do receive federal money, state money via grants, airport improvement grants through the Aviation Trust Fund and so forth. But however, we do not receive any subsidy from any of the local communities. So we're proud of that self-sustaining status. We generate our revenues through parking revenues and landing fees and concession fees and rental cars. All those contribute to the financial operation of the airport. And you can see here, based on the 2022 economic impact analysis, the economic output generated by the airport authorities for airport system is approximately $1 billion. So we do contribute significantly to the local economy. Okay, airline service, which I think most people are interested in. Harrisburg International Airport offers 4 airlines providing daily nonstop service to 16 destinations and hundreds of connecting points. And what's significant about HIA, or Harrisburg International, is we have 7 destinations, our international gateway hubs. So if you're connecting through Philly, or you're connecting through Detroit, or Chicago, or Charlotte, Dallas, Atlanta, Dulles, you have the ability to connect from Harrisburg through that airport to basically anywhere in the world. So it has the connectivity in that regard, and with regard to the fact that it's just one stop, and then you're on your way to Paris or Asia, wherever the next stop may be. So we're pretty proud of that as well. Beginning June 14th, in 10 days, we have a new nonstop service, which will be from Harrisburg to Jacksonville. That'll be via Allegiant. Allegiant is our low-cost carrier, our ultra-low-cost carrier. Serves many destinations in Florida, including Jackson will be a new market, but St. Pete, Orlando, Sarasota, Punta Gorda, and Fort Lauderdale are also served via Allegiant into Florida. And they also fly to Nashville and Myrtle Beach on Allegiant. So a lot of connectivity just on that one airline. In 2023, HIA reported a total of 1.3 million passengers, which was a 3.8% increase compared to 2022. And 2023 was the 3rd consecutive year of growth after the COVID pandemic, COVID shutdowns. 2019 was our busiest year. And then, of course, we had a significant decline. However, we've been growing pretty significantly since then. And based on what we hear from our airline partners, 2024 is going to be a pretty good year as well. So we know we're seeing some significant increases for the summer months. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask at any time. I wanted to just talk a little bit about some capital projects, a couple of our significant projects. You may not know, but at Harrisburg International was a former Air Force base. It was a former Strategic Air Command base with the U.S. Air Force. And as such, it was self-contained, basically. So we have our own water treatment facility. We have our own water sewage treatment plant. So we provide all those services internally to our tenants. Back in 2014, we discovered what they call a forever chemical, PFAS, in our drinking water, and we provide drinking water to everyone on the campus. So since that point, since that date, we've been working to eliminate or to eradicate the PFAS in our drinking water. We've taken several steps in that process, and they're kind of listed here, starting with kind of identifying what would be how could you filter out this particular chemical from the drinking water. We have used granulated activated charcoal filtration system to do that. We began a full design on the water treatment plant to install and implement this granulated activated charcoal system into our water treatment facility. We did receive a $6.7 million grant from the state of Pennsylvania, the PennVest program, to support that, which fully funded the upgrades to the water treatment plant. We test the water regularly, and as of right now, in our last test, the PFAS levels, this forever chemical, is non-detect. So we've been able to filter the water and treat the water to the point where it's impossible to detect any of this PFAS chemical. I think as this year goes on and beyond, you're going to hear a lot more about PFAS in various water systems, and whether it's local or the city provided water. I don't know what you guys do, but it was a problem for us, and fortunately we've been able to eliminate that through that filtration system and using the grant money that was provided by the state of Pennsylvania. The next project, this is a pretty significant one, is a $64 million expansion of our cargo complex. We started this project last year with some significant stormwater improvements, had to actually go under the runway to get to the river, and we're continuing this year to kind of tie in with the ramp area. As I said, this is a $64 million project. It will increase capacity on our cargo ramp by about 30%, which will allow 3 to 4 more large, heavy type cargo aircraft to serve central Pennsylvania. So we're pretty excited about that. I said it was $64 million. It's broken into 2 categories. The orange colored is the air side, which is basically where aircraft operate, and the blue colored portion of that picture is the land side, where we have our sortation facilities and where the trucks park and come and go and employees park and so forth. So this is a pretty big deal for us. This is primarily funded by the FAA, although we've had some EPA funds that have helped, Environmental Protection Agency funds that have helped, the EDC, the Economic Development Corporation, and again, FAA has been a big part of that whole funding package for the cargo ramp expansion. We expect that that's going to be done by this time, or maybe by the fall of 2025. So in a little more than a year from now. And we're hoping to see some increased cargo activity, which will add jobs and tax base and so forth to the local economy. All right, I mentioned we have 3 general aviation airports. Capital City Airport has average operations of 24,500. It is a designated reliever for HIA, and it's the airport of choice for several state agencies, including the Governor's Office, Pennsylvania State Police, and the Pennsylvania Office of the Attorney General. Actually, Capital City Airport used to be the commercial service airport when Harrisburg International was the Air Force Base. It was Olmsted Air Force Base, and all of the commercial activity was operated out of Capital City Airport until that transition occurred in 1968 or 69. Gettysburg Regional Airport is one that we acquired in 2006. It was privately owned, and the owner was interested or thinking about selling to a private developer or residential developer. The FAA did not want to lose the aviation asset, so they approached the airport authority to see if there was interest in supporting that airport by acting as the sponsor. The airport board agreed, and so we acquired that in 2006. Same thing with Franklin County Regional Airport. That became part of the airport system in 2004. The city of Chambersburg didn't want to be in the airport business. Again, the FAA approached us, asked us if we'd be interested in owning another airport. Our board said yes, and so now it's part of our system. All right, and lastly, I wanted to mention an exciting event that we have planned for Harrisburg International. That's our Air Show, 2025 Air Show. It'll be Memorial Day weekend of 2025. We have secured the Blue Angels to be the headline act for that show. There'll be other civilian and military display aircraft, aerobatics, static displays, vintage aircraft. But we're all excited about the Blue Angels, and that'll be a 2-day event, as I said, about a year from now. So, and everybody's, invited to come join us and have a good time, and hopefully the weather will be good. And that's the end of my presentation. I wanted to keep it short. Want to thank you for your participation and being part of the Airport Authority organization. We've had a wonderful relationship with your appointees. Very engaged. Carolyn's always been very engaged in all of our activities. We're just here to answer questions and kind of let you know that. Hopefully, we're doing well for the city of York. So that concludes my presentation, subject to your questions.
Thank you very much. Thank you for a wonderful presentation. We greatly appreciate it.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great evening.
Special guest this afternoon. He had to leave early to get here to this meeting.
Yes, we had Transportation Secretary Buttigieg was, actually he was in the area. He drove up from D.C. He visited Lancaster. I guess there was a project there. He went to Steelton, and then he came to the airport. Reason for his visit, we have, through the Department of Transportation, they have several grant programs. One of them is the Airport Terminal Program, and we've been fortunate over the past 2 years to receive 2 significant grants from the Department of Transportation through that grant program. One was for the baggage handling system, and it's just an upgrade to the technology in our baggage handling system, which is in the basement in the terminal building. I hope all of you have used Harrisburg International, so thumbs up if you have. And then the second one was the passenger boarding bridges. We just received and have just been awarded a $7.5 million grant to replace 6 of our 12 passenger boarding bridges, which are now, the terminal building is 20 years old, and so are the boarding bridges, and many of them have had significant problems over that term. So we're going to be replacing them with 6 new bridges and new PC Air, which is going to be use less energy, so more energy efficient. So he was there as a representative from the U.S. government, just conducting a site visit to take a look at the project. So he was there for a couple hours this afternoon, talked to the mayor of the city of Harrisburg, and who was with us on the tour, and we were able to answer many of his questions. So thank you for bringing that up.
You're welcome. Thank you. And thank you, ma'am, for your service. And thank you to other representative from the city of York for your service as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Moving along now, we will move into our legislative meeting. As a note, after tonight's meeting, council will observe its summer recess. Therefore, the next legislative meeting of council will be held on Tuesday, July 16th at 6:00 p.m. here in council chambers. All agenda items are due by 12 noon on July 10th. And council does not have committee meetings during its summer recess. Therefore, the next committee meeting will be held on Wednesday, September the 25th, 6:00 p.m. And all committee items are due by 12 noon on September the 18th. And so now we are moving along to our final passages of bills and resolutions. We have final passage of bill number 20.
Move to approve.
Second.
And that is Bill number 20, Ordinance 21. It's a bill amending the 2024 budget by appropriating expenditures from ARPA funds for engineering costs associated with the replacement of the Market Street Bridge in the amount of $796,600. There was a motion in a second already. Okay.
Are there any comments or questions from council?
None at all.
No.
Any comments or questions from the public?
I just need one break right here. We want to make sure he didn't take the remote with him. Oh, okay, thank you, okay. I just got a voice,
Gonna be
got a
dashing out the
text
door.
message from, yeah. Okay, all right. We have the remote. Dave has the remote,
Okay.
Cliff. Okay, I'm sorry.
Madam Clerk, do you want to call the vote?
Okay, Bub,
Yes.
John Askew,
Yes.
Dennis.
Yes.
Buckingham.
Yes.
Washington.
Yes, and that moves forward. Moving along to introduction and passages of bills, we have an introduction of bill number
21.
21. So introduced.
Bill number 21, introduced by Aquina Washington, a bill amending the 2024 budget to appropriate additional revenue and expenditures for an end-of-year additional payment incentive for Family Health Council of Central PA in the amount of $6,000. Family Health Council of Central PA for the Personal Responsibility Education Program in the amount of $30,500. Public Health Emergency Preparedness Cooperative Agreement in the amount of $908,316.28. An epidemiology and laboratory capacity reflecting for infectious disease grant in the amount of $3,705,687.49. And Act 12 and Act 15 funding reflecting changes due to rollover amounts for fiscal year 2023 in the amount of $13,137.28. And wire trust contribution reflecting changes due to rollover amounts from the 2023 budget in the amount of $90,275.06.
Thank you. That is a bill, and that will sit into our next meeting. Introduction of bill number 22. So introduced.
Bill number 22, introduced by Aquina Washington, amending the fiscal year 2024 budget for the group violence intervention activities funded by a grassroots initiative, result-based accountability grant from York College in Fund 26 Special Projects in the amount of $10,000.
And that is a bill as well, and that will sit as well into our next meeting. Up next, we have agenda items for consideration of consent agenda. Council, could you take some time to review items 4 through 13? And to see if there's any items that you would like to pull?
I'd like to pull 5, 8, 9, and 10.
Thank you, Councilwoman Janescu. You said 5, 8, 9, and 10?
Yes.
Thank you. Are there anyone else would like to have any other items pulled?
No.
Okay. I would like to make a motion to consider agenda items 4, 6, 7, and 11 through 13 for consent agenda. Is that correct?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That moves forward.
Are there any questions on agenda items 4, 6, 7, and 11 through 13 from council? Are any comments from the administration on those items? Any comments from the audience on those items? Okay. Is there a motion to approve agenda items 4, 6, 7, and 11 through 13?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Okay, I'll call for the vote on those. This is to approve agenda items 4, 6, 7, 11, and 13. Bub,
Yes?
John Askew,
Yes.
Dennis,
Yes.
Buckingham,
Yes.
Washington.
Yes. and they all move forward. Thank you, Clerk Thompson. Up next, we have a resolution by Council Vice President Betsy Buckingham.
Item number 5, I don't know what the resolution number is, but exonerating 2023 municipal taxes and penalties for the Children's Aid Society in the amount of $3,422.82.
And that is resolution number 51.
Number 51?
Okay.
Is there any discussion or questions on resolution number
Council?
51?
Yes. Yes, and you're representing the Children's Aid Society? No one here?
No.
Okay, I guess my concern is, and I followed the conversations with Treasurer Jeffcoat, and of course, I did receive the documents and review those. What I understand is the Children's Aid Society was transferred in November of '22, and I guess the process is any property, once it's transferred, prior tax exemption is not grandfathered. They have to, the agent, the organization has to go through and meet the requirements in order to have the property tax exempt. So last year, when I was sitting in council and watching, I saw 2 other cases, a little bit different, asking council to forgive taxes. And one of the things that's been brought to my attention is we really don't have a policy in place that sets a standard, a basis for approval and denial. So what I'm seeing here is that, okay, their exemption is effective on 1/1/24. Why, so from that standpoint, without any process in place, I know in the past when these have come to you last year, there was a resident concern about a slippery slope, where do we stop, how do we define these? And I'm hoping, that we can develop some kind of policy in a way to work this. At this right now, it seems that this is a normal part of doing business for a 501c3. I see no hardship here. And there's no one here to, answer questions tonight. The one thing I like about committee is, I had time to, when we received the documents, to review them and ask the questions I didn't have a chance to ask, last week in committee. So I guess at this point, I feel that if we approve these without some kind of policy in place, it puts the city in a bad position. And I'm especially mindful that we're a city that's already hard-pressed by the number of nonprofit entities that are tax exempt. I know I was at the door of many senior citizens this year whose most pressing concern and fear is that they may not be able to stay in their home because of their high taxes. So they are experiencing hardship. So I guess at this point, there's no one to answer the questions. I guess we can just go ahead and move for the vote. I would be voting against it just in hopes that we need to really visit this and how we want to proceed these, especially in light of future, requests we may receive. And, really err on the side of caution.
Thank you.
If there's any, I agree with that completely because, from Treasurer Jeffcoat, you see that we're probably expecting more coming down the road. This has always been a thorn in my side. But you also have the option of tabling it if you're not if you don't want to consider it tonight for the majority, if you want to table it until the July meeting and have more discussion on it, maybe a conversation with someone from the Children's Aid Society, you're more than welcome to do that. Or if there's not enough to table it, then we just vote accordingly.
Thank you. I didn't know if Solicitor Flowers wanted to share a little bit. We were having this discussion in our elected officials meeting today. We
Yeah.
had some of this discussion today.
Sorry. And so, looking through this, a lot of times we get this with charities where they buy a property and then they don't realize that they needed to go to the York County Board of Assessment Appeals and get that exemption. And so they're not here to answer that question for us, but I wonder if that's the issue, since it looks like this delinquent tax notice was their first clue that, okay, we needed to do something. A lot of times they just expect, we're a 501c3, we're exempt, we don't need to pay taxes, and it just goes with them. So I don't disagree that, the question of forgiveness is certainly something that's a little bit different than the question of whether or not they're entitled to an exemption in the first place. It is set by the Pennsylvania Supreme Court as to whether or not the charity qualifies for an exemption. The one that the treasurer outlined as coming down the pipe is going to be a little bit different, because that property was, my understanding from the information is that that property was delinquent on their taxes by a non-tax exempt entity and then was transferred. And so that's, whereas this property has been owned by tax exempt organizations all the way through, and this is more of an oversight. So that's certainly one piece for council to take into consideration is, the historic use of the property as well.
Thank you, Solicitor Flowers.
President Washington, how would you like to proceed? Should we table this and have them come in?
I think he explained, if I make a comment, he was here at committee and explained everything, and this is a property that has historically never been a taxable property. It's always been tax exempt. But I also agree that we really need to look at having some sort of a standard for a basis for forgiveness or
So what
denial.
we have here is a possibility that they made an oversight. There's no hardship related to this request, and they weren't tax exempt at the time that these taxes were, assessed.
They were they've always, children's aid.
No, but not for the property, not this property. They are, but not the property.
The property was because it was owned by a Methodist church,
Yes.
St. Paul's Methodist.
Yeah, but it lost that exemption when they had to be reapplied by the new. It's not grandfathered. It doesn't follow
Right.
to the new owner.
I mean, I agree as well. We were having this discussion earlier today, and I brought that up as well, that we need to have some policy
Right.
and procedures put in place so that way we can ensure that when other organizations come before us, that we have some outlines that we follow here. Because as we know, as the economy continues to change, we're going to see more and more nonprofits and organizations coming to us, asking for us for the forgiveness of their taxes. So we're going to have to do something, because there's going to be, I believe it's going to be an onslaught. I could be wrong. But I believe it's going to be an onslaught of those organizations coming through. And then also, as we shared, when organizations purchase properties, which should happen here, there's some lapses sometimes in periods and things like that. But I would like to move forward with the vote, but I mean, everyone is open to vote how they choose.
Okay, thank you.
Is there a
welcome. Thank
motion to
you.
table or a motion to just move forward? Do you want to make a motion to table and see where it goes, or?
Yeah.
or-
No, we'll motion to vote.
Okay.
So,
The resolution was introduced, but we didn't get a second to vote.
right, I need a second.
Second.
Thank you.
Sorry. Second.
Would you call the roll?
Any questions?
Yes, are there any additional questions or concerns from council?
I have none.
Any from the public? Madam Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Vote?
Yes.
Sorry, I'm just.
That's fine.
John Askew?
No.
Dennis?
Yes.
Buckingham?
Yes.
Washington?
Yes. And that moves forward. Moving along, we have a resolution, which is it's number 8, but a resolution authorizing an agreement with Wireless CCTV LLC for the purchase of 3 security surveillance towers totaling $132,077.47.
And that's resolution number 54.
So introduced.
Okay.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been introduced and seconded. Is there any comment from council?
Yes, I pulled this because at committee meeting, we did have residents come in and express concern about this, and so I thought it would be good to review what is happening, with the York City Police and this project. I want to thank Wellspan for making this possible, and assure anyone who missed our committee meeting that these cameras are intended to be a tool for our York City Police Department. They're very much like the one in Giant parking lot in East York, very visible, but they can be deployed during large public events like the New Year's Eve celebration, or placed in areas where there might be a higher incidence of burglary or graffiti or other, crime. And, just be that extra set of eyes when we don't have police available to be somewhere 24/7. They will be deployed in public places on an as-need basis. There's certainly nothing discreet about them. They stand out, so they're very visible, and maybe in that way can serve as a deterrent. They're rather large. I did agree with Council President Washington that a policy, going along and guiding the use of these cameras would be good. It would put, citizens, residents at ease with them. But again, I think, this is a great tool for our police department. Anything that helps them reduce crime, is a plus.
Thank you, Councilwoman Janescu. Great comments.
I would just echo that. I also agree we should have the police department write a policy on their use, deployment, and results, or how they will handle results, or refer to existing policies so we know.
Thank you. Any other comments from council? Are there any comments from the public regarding this? Madam Clerk, please call the vote.
Bob?
Yes?
John Askew?
Yes.
Dennis?
No.
Buckingham?
Yes.
Washington?
Yes. And that moves forward. Moving along, we have, me again. We have a resolution authorizing a budget transfer of ARPA funds for GVI Incredible Messenger Program to identify funds for client services in the amount of $50,000. And that is resolution number
55.
55. So introduced.
Second.
It has been introduced and seconded. Are there any comments from council regarding this matter?
Yes, I requested that this be pulled because, first, after watching people come to council recently with questions and comments about ARPA distributions, especially because many are having difficulty accessing the dashboard, and that's creating what I consider an unintended appearance of lack of transparency. So I'd like to see ARPA discussions, because there are winners and losers. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, discussed separately at council. I really have to say this money going for meeting needs of those involved in our GVI program is, really, very solid. I've been to a number of the meetings in 2023, and I like this idea that what they're trying to do is meet those needs that might keep somebody from picking up a gun and using it. I kind of compare it to that lion with a thorn in his paw, fable, that idea that you solve that small problem, prevents that big one, so, I'm very supportive, but I always want to make sure that we take that extra time with any kind of ARPA, allocations, and helping everyone understand what they're being used for. And I've been to GVI meetings where specific examples of how small, needs are met for these young, men, and, has made a world of difference.
Thank you. Are there any other comments from council? I would just like to share, when I discussed this with Commissioner Muldrow, these are the funds that many times, as Councilwoman Janescu shared, that many times individuals may need. It may be relocation out of the city to keep them safe, to keep their family members safe. It may be providing them with things that maybe many of us have readily available to us that are not readily available to individuals, to give them that upper hand so that they can do better in the community and do better in their lives. And it's not traditional things that normally traditional grants will provide funding and access to. So this is providing that access and that funding for those individuals that truly do want help and truly do want to do better for themselves, but many times do not have the opportunity or the resources, whether it's work boots, whether it's bus passes, whether it's, like I said,
Relocation.
Diapers. Didn't he say
diapers. He mentioned diapers for their children, or whatever it may be, that are some things that maybe just aren't, we may have not thought of as an issue that may be keeping them from doing some things that they should not be doing, that we can assist in that manner. And so I just wanted to add that. I don't know if anyone else has any comments.
Just a brief add, the GVI meetings are open to the public, 9 a.m. Friday mornings at the York College Center for Community Engagement, Duke Street entrance, usually lasts about an hour. And they do invite the public who are interested in helping, because not only do they need money to spend, they will also ask the public if they have things to donate. They would come up with a list of things. Anybody have a spare air conditioner, for example? And they would take a donation and use that. So it's not just spending money, they take donations. Thanks.
Thank you. Are there any comments or questions from the public regarding this matter? Yes, ma'am.
Marie Roleta, 200 North Duke Street. And I'm sorry, but everything you say is moot because you do not have a strategic plan in place. Everything that you should be doing should be coming from whatever the strategic plan says. I am very upset that all this wonderful money that you're spending on wonderful things comes this and this and this and this and this. It's not cohesive. I tried to figure out what's going on. The dashboard is impossible. You say great things, you want to do great things. Where is the strategic plan that guides you into these great things that you're doing? I have no problem with you. I have no problem with what you're doing. I have a problem that you are not having the direction that you need. I was one of the people who worked very hard 2 years ago to start developing it, but it was only a start, and everything we did was just disappeared when the person who led that left. And I have seen nothing since then
Can I
that tells me
I have a question too. Yeah, I have a question too.
what you're doing. What I see you doing is you're making decisions, and then that's going to the strategic plan, rather than the other way around, where your decisions should be guided by that. I would not want to be in your position of not having that. Yeah.
Thank you for your comments. Council does have a strategic plan. We do have a ARPA plan that was instituted last year. Was instituted last year. It is on the city's website, and we can assist you in finding that plan and ensuring that you have that so that you can have it in your hands and so that you can review it. So we are going by guidelines in a strategic plan, and we are going by federal guidelines of the ARPA. And we do have a consultant that keeps us and holds us answer to those federal guidelines. So we are going by guidelines that are federally set, and we are also going by a plan, a strategic plan that we did set in place to ensure that we had proper fiduciary guidelines and making sure that the ARPA money was spent properly. And I do agree with you, there are some stagnation in the website. We do have some of that. We're working hard to institute that as fast as possible as we can. Although you might see some things come through on council to vote on, there's still a process behind the scenes to get that into our system and then get it up on the website. It doesn't happen instantly, and so it takes time. Our staff here at the City of York are working the best that they can to make sure that the ARPA dashboard is updated and to make sure that once we vote on an item, it is sent through as as fast as possible. They're doing the best job that they can.
No, I just applaud what you guys are trying to do.
Now, Marie, were you talking about the comprehensive plan that started? That was just sent to planning this month. Planning has the final say and any revisions that are needed, and then it will be coming to us for review. So that is completed and right now being looked at. Yes, we've all been waiting for it. It's been a long, long process.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I just, yeah.
Go ahead.
I also wanted to clarify that the ARPA funds couldn't necessarily follow the city comprehensive plan. There are very specific areas where ARPA funds can be used and protocols that have to be followed that fall outside of the city comprehensive plan. And that's why we have our advisors to help us, guide us, and see where we can most effectively spend those dollars and relieve taxpayer burden looking forward.
I just feel for you, because you have, things are here, and here. That's what I'm saying, and that's not your fault. What you're kind of left in the middle of nowhere, having to make decisions without the comprehensive plan. And I understand about the ARCA stuff, and I disagree entirely with the way that whole thing has been administered, which again is not your fault. I just think you have done a wonderful job with your hands tied.
Thank you, Ms. Marie.
I'd like to add that the comprehensive plan, Jada Richardson from our Department of Economic and Community Development has just posted on the City of York website that the comprehensive plan is available for review June 11th and 12th, to the public June 12th at 6 p.m. in this chambers. There'll be opportunity for discussion. I don't know if it'll be posted and available to read ahead of time, or have to see about that.
It's probably about this thick.
Yeah, maybe not. So there are going to be public meetings, at least one for the public, and then there's some others for different departments, neighborhood associations, business community. But plan, if you're interested, to come here June 12th at 6 p.m.
So where was that advertised?
It's just, advertising is just rolling out.
It was advertised on social media, and it was advertised through, they sent some emails out.
I'm sure it was probably advertised in the paper if that's part
It
of the
would have to be,
recommendations, yeah.
Not much time between now and then.
A week and a day. Oh my.
I just want to be mad. Marie.
Wow. So thank you for bringing that up so that we could mention it.
Are there any other comments or questions from the public? Madam Clerk, can you please call the vote?
Bub,
This is on the 50,000?
Yes.
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 John Askew,
Yes.
Dennis,
Yes.
Buckingham,
Yes.
Washington.
Yes, and that moves forward. Moving along to a resolution being introduced by Council Vice President Buckingham.
This is a resolution number 56,
Which one are we?
number 10.
Number
Yes.
10.
Authorizing agreements with York City School District and all city management for crossing guard services for the 2024-2025 school year. Do I have a second?
Second.
Are there any comments or questions from the council?
Yes, I'm still a bit concerned. Okay, yes, it's a company from California, but they operate locally, but we're not quite sure on the details on some of that. But I can't help, I don't know what the percentage increase was for this year, but it's 28.53 cents per hour per crossing guard, 36 sites, 22,680 hours, for a total up to $647,060. And I understand that we do split that with the city school district, but my greatest concern remains here that we don't understand the breakdown, that we don't have the invoicing that tells us what that markup is. You know, how much of that is going to the guards? Is the markup double what we're paying the guards? And if we don't have that information, how do we know this is continuing? I mean, we've done this since 2016, but at some point, is this now no longer, you know, cost effective, and do we need to practice, you know, a little more responsibility and asking them for the disclosure, and, you know, being more, you know, asking about, you know, what metrics are they meeting as far as, and how are we measuring their success with keeping guards, you know, where they should be. So, you know, for me, this remains a very vague expenditure, and I am hopeful that, you know, at the committee meeting, Business Administrator Robinson said, yes, you know, it's probably time to issue another RFP, but in the meantime, we're kind of operating blind, and that really, you know, as someone who's, you know, worked in manufacturing, worked with, you know, with temps, you know, agencies, and, you know, where there's always been a very open accounting for every cost associated with that employment, I'm, you know, a little worried that we don't get that from this company.
Very good input. I was looking at the employment page of the City of York, and there is a school crossing guard position open continuously under the police department. $12 an hour, seasonal, job number 3. And, oh, there it says, if interested, please call All American City Management Services at an 800 number. So they are offering the job at a $12 an hour rate.
But we're paying $28.53 for that.
Some of which would include liability coverage, which is invaluable. Invaluable.
But when any employee of the city be covered under our liability and our insurance? I'm just saying, I think this company should be providing complete transparency in, you know, the monies that we are paying them. I think it's irresponsible for us not to expect it. I would not, you know, pay a bill if I didn't understand every line item, you know, associated with my payment.
Are there any other additional comments from council?
I have none.
Any from the public? And clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Pub?
No.
Give me 1 second here. John Askew?
No.
Dennis?
Abstain.
Reason for abstention?
I'm an employee of a York City School District.
Let's see here. All right. Does council agree to authorize the abstention?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you, Council.
Buckingham?
Yes.
Washington?
Yes.
That doesn't pass.
Moving along, we do not have any requests for future meetings that I know of. Do we have any comment from council this evening? No.
Enjoy your recess, Council.
No, I hope so.
Make sure you get some rest and enjoy some vacation time. That's my comment.
So mine's not quite so chipper. What have I noticed as a resident and driver in the city as an incredible number of people who run red lights.
Or stop
And
sign.
well, I'm just talking about red lights.
Yep.
That's what I've noticed. I just want to say that if anyone is listening, we would be more mindful of what we are doing when we are driving and the impact we could have. But almost daily, I see at least one.
And it's numerous cars at every light. I'm about to start performing my own informal study. I've almost been hit when I've had to walk light at intersections.
Right. So, I just saw one on my way tonight again and thought, I think I need to mention that.
I'd like to get involved in the traffic safety committee.
Third Wednesday morning, 9 a.m. I just learned that this morning, because I am
Send that on to me
interested.
in an email, because I
I
will.
will.
Traffic safety guy right
Right
there.
here.
Yay.
Second floor, Blue conference room. If I receive an email, I will include you in the sending out of the news.
All right. Okay, second floor pool, what day is that again?
Third Wednesday of the month,
Third Wednesday, and the time?
9 o'clock in the morning.
Thank you for bringing
I've
that up.
received some really interesting emails about opportunities that might address this situation. I'll make sure I bring them along.
Oh, yeah,
It's good news.
always is.
Is there any other council comment this evening? Is there any comment from the administration this evening?
No, thank you. Enjoy your recess.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
As long as you don't ask for no special meeting.
It is 6:55 PM and our meeting is adjourned. Everyone have a phenomenal evening and summer